It was amazing, man. It was amazing.
Oh my God, I can't stand both of y'all.
Mommy, that grown man's crying.
I understand, Big Cross.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Courtney. It was emotional for me, man.
Courtney.
Oh my God.
But it was funny to Harry.
Yeah, I was laughing my butt off.
And the way Harry told it, I said, you must tell this on the show.
They shocked me, y'all, sure, because I didn't see it. I ain't see it coming. I didn't see it. Like, look, over
because
there,
Vic is so hard. Vic is so hard with the voice and everything. And when Harry told me, Kyle, I just bust out laughing.
I understand, though.
The same dude mean mugging everybody around.
Oh, yeah.
The same dude, Jim. Same dude.
If they only knew, this Negro will cry when he see purple. When he see the color purple.
Now you're taking it too far.
Too far.
What is he? I can't let you do my boy like that.
We'll be right back. More radio.
We're back with more Cheryl Underwood Radio.
Thank you, super producer. Hey, it's time for our final thoughts. And let's see who's going to go first. Final thoughts, Courtney Black. Never mind.
I know, right?
No,
Took
can I
too
tell you
long,
something? Let me tell you what's funny about my team. Sometimes you'll hear clicking. That's
Right.
Harry.
That's right.
No, and Kyle. And
Yeah,
Kyle
Kyle.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes Courtney have her head down reading something. And I go, what you going to do? She be like, I'm okay, final.
Let me just tell Vic I still love him now. I'm not going to hold it against him that he was at the Purple Rain.
in Paisley Park crying.
Paisley Park.
Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate
But I will pull out purple every time I see you so that you can start crying. On contact.
Oh, Lord. Jim Kelly, final thoughts?
Final thoughts. I'll make it quick. I don't want to cut in front of Vic. We know how emotional he is, but get out and watch Brian Banks. Great movie. So
All right, final thoughts, Big Frost.
If you are a Prince fan, please do me a favor and yourself a favor and go and take the tour for Paisley Park.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome to another edition of Living a Rich Life, a talk show for people who believe in change in all aspects of life so they can lead a better and complete life. I am your host, Rich James, and I believe living a rich life is made up of 6 elements: good health, strong relationships, financial freedom, goals and achievement, philanthropy, and extraordinary experiences. Today's discussion is going to focus around the evolution of comedy. And to help me do that, I have a featured guest who is well known in the DMV and abroad area. So with that being said, let's talk about it. So today's featured guest is a native Baltimorean, an accomplished performer in the arts, and just to name a few, has opened up for Cedric the Entertainer, Tracy Morgan, and my good friend Bruce, voted Best Comedian at the 5th Annual DMV Awards, showcased at the Improv in Hollywood, California, and currently co-host on WEAA 88.9, my alma mater, Morgan State University Radio. Please welcome one of the most dynamic young personalities in the DMV area and abroad, comedian and actor extraordinaire, Larry Lancaster.
How you doing, brother?
I am well.
I appreciate that build up. That was nice.
Yeah, well,
I haven't been called young in a long time, son.
Well, I'm just saying, hey, you've been in the game, so tell us. Let's start right off the bat because folks want to know, how long have you been in the game of comedy?
Well, it's about 20 years, man.
What?
Yeah, 20 years.
20 years?
I was a late bloomer. I started when I was 30 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 20, let me do my math there. Oh,
Yeah.
all
I'm a
right.
little long in the tooth.
Ain't nothing wrong with
As
that.
the old people used to say, long in the tooth, like a tiger.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started, man, back in like 2000.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
2000, 99, around that time. And it was weird how it started. I actually never thought I could be a professional comedian. People always told me I was funny. And of course, you know, I'm like, yeah, I'm funny around my guys. I'm funny in the barbershop, but I don't think I could be a professional. And one day I went to a comedy show. I never forget it. It was at the spot, you remember the Latin Palace.
Yeah.
And it was a brother named Stacy Carver and Jay Phillips. Jay Phillips is now on the D.L. Hughley show. He travels around the country. And Stacy's still doing comedy as well.
Yep, I know
And
Stacey.
they did a comedy night there. And a buddy of mine, we were looking for something to do. And we went there. And saw the comedy show, and it was such a wonderful experience. I walked up to him and was like, look, man, I want to make people feel how you made me feel. What do I have to do? So he said, take these tickets, sell. It was like 5 tickets, sell them. This will be your registration fee. We have an open mic talent competition in 2 weeks. Okay. And I went and won. Been doing it ever since.
Oh, nice. Now, I used to do some comedy back in the days. Long time ago.
Okay.
long time ago. So, you know, what we do here, we have a lot of fun, right? I got a couple of games that we're going to play, and I'm expecting it to be really crazy now.
Okay.
You're my first comedian
really?
on the show.
All right.
So you're setting the tone.
Okay.
You're setting the tone. I also like to ask folks in terms of, I get feedback from your supporters, right? So you're on, tell us how we can, you know, stay in contact with you from social media.
You can just go to comedian Larry Lancaster on all social media, and that should take care of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all
that good stuff. Yeah. Okay, so what I did was I reached out to some of your supporters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and said, hey, what do you want me to ask Larry Lancaster? Okay.
Okay.
So we're gonna take
does his homework.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're gonna do something. So first, one question was, do you write your own routines, your own material?
Yes. As a comedian, you have to do that. Once you get to a certain level, like the Kevin Harts and the Dave Chappelles and those guys, millions of people are seeing your material, then you can afford writers, and you need writers, because it's very tough to come up with a whole 45-minute or hour set by yourself and then still have to work it out and make sure it's funny. So then you get writers to help you out. But yeah, at this level, I write all my stuff.
Yeah. Well, I like to think, because again, I've seen you a long time ago, and I've seen you recently. We got together at one of your shows.
Yes.
And, you know, you got some other things coming, so I'm bringing some people there too.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
You know, and it was funny. It was all new material. You know, so that's good to know.
Sometimes I always tell people new material sometimes is overrated. You have guys who could make a living 20 years in the game still doing the same set. They just master it, and they may add a joke here or there, but I'm a different type of comic, so you may hear some of the same stuff, but I have a wealth of material. I'm always writing. I'm always coming up with different things and different aspects, and so I incorporate that into the comedy.
Okay, and so how do you come up, which was a question, how do you come up with your material?
Life experiences.
Life.
And so that's the other thing that I think people don't understand. That's why it's not like being an athlete. Being a comedian, you can actually get better as you get older, because you get more life experiences, and that way you get more material to draw from. And you learn how to take those life experiences and make them comedic, because not everybody can do that.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I had some friends that say, hey, they was to be comics, and as soon as they get up on that stage.
Yeah. And it's not to say they couldn't do it, it's just you got to put in the work. It's not as easy as people think it is.
Gotcha. Okay. And speaking of that, right, so another question was, how do you deal with hecklers? Do you get that a lot?
No, I don't. I try to maintain a certain control of the room.
Okay.
And I think sometimes people can tell when you don't have that control or you're unsure of yourself, and then people will heckle you. I used to destroy hecklers. I mean, just like, because that's actually how I started doing comedy. I was the Jonah. I was the guy that could clear a corner, crack on everybody, talk about your mama, your shoes, your clothes, whatever. And I used to be that guy, but now I'm getting a little older. I'm slowing down, and you know, I'm trying not to put that energy out there.
Right.
So a lot of times I try to hold the mirror up to a person and make them look at themselves and turn the room against them, where they see like, come on, man, you're looking ridiculous now.
Right,
and so I try to use that approach now, and that kind of works more than just embarrassing somebody, because sometimes that energy comes back. The person gets upset. Yeah, people want to attack you. People want to fight you outside. I had all this kind of stuff, man. So I try to avoid all of that negative energy now.
Okay.
But I still can destroy somebody. I just choose not to do it.
Okay, all right. Another question somebody asked, so what, favorite comedian? Do you have a favorite comedian?
Yeah, but a lot of times that will be somebody that your general audience may not know.
Okay.
I mean, of course, they had household words like the Martins, the Bernie Macs, the Robin Harrises, the Eddies, the Richards, George Carlin, the Chappelles, the Chris Rocks, and all of that. But I like... it's a guy named Tony Woods, and Tony Woods actually was just honored. He just was acknowledged by Dave Chappelle as his mentor. And people have been knowing that for years in this area, but he actually said it when he got the Mark Twain Award.
Okay.
He actually publicly acknowledged Tony Woods, so kudos to Tony. It was a guy named Joe Recker who was one of my favorites. He passed. It's a guy named Freddie Ricks from New York.
Okay.
A guy named Rob Stapleton.
Yes.
A guy named Ray Grady, who I'm actually going to be doing an Alpha Male comedy tour with him in LA. Funny brother. It's a lot of guys that are just really funny, and when you see them, you're just like, man, guy's great,
Right.
So
it's a plethora.
It's a lot, and it depends on what the style is too. So.
Okay. So what would you say is your style? I mean, so let's say recently, where was that? That was Magoobies.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to say, my side was hurting.
Oh wow!
And the room was never a moment of silence.
Right.
Never a moment of silence, which I thought was a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say is your style of comedy?
Well, I'd like to. It's fast paced because I like to keep my laughs per minute. Some people tell stories and there's long lapses between laughs. I like to keep my laughter constant and consistent. It's social commentary, politics, relationships, and satire. So I like to combine all of those things. And I do a lot of sax and blues stuff too. I like to be nasty sometimes, but I can perform in the church and be completely clean as well.
Gotcha. Okay, a versatile comedian. You mentioned some names earlier, some folks that we've lost, I think a little too soon.
Right.
The Bernie Macs, the Robin Harris. Is there anybody in particular that you would have liked to work with or like to work with now?
Well, I got to work with Kevin. I worked with Kevin before. I actually got to work with Cedric. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one because there's so many guys out there. I probably would like to work with probably a Corey Holcomb.
Oh,
yeah, he's a real funny cat. Patrice O'Neal was a real funny guy too. He's passed.
Okay.
That would have been nice to work with. I actually got to work with. I would have liked to work with some of the old heads, like a Red Fox.
Oh yes.
Or somebody like that.
Yeah. So any TV in the future? TV performances, what you got going on? Tell us a little something.
Well, I'm working on some stuff. Because you got so many channels now. And a lot of people are working with different content. I'm actually working with a brother named Elijah, and we're coming up with some things, stuff that when you're in the development stage you can't really talk about because next thing you know people will beat you to your idea. You'll be saying them do it before you can. But yeah, there's some stuff in the works, man. I know that generally sounds like bull when people say it, but there are some things working. But yeah.
Nah, but see, I think that's important, right? So, so a few things that was told to me was, you don't let folks know your love life. You
right.
Don't let folks know your income, and you don't let folks know your next move.
Right. This is true.
So it makes sense.
This is true. Sometimes it's just good to let people see what you're doing and not necessarily tell them to show them.
I agree. I agree. So, all right. Well, we're gonna keep it going. Another question that was asked, and you already answered that. So, what are some qualities that you think all comedians should have, right?
I think comedians should be smart. A lot of them aren't necessarily.
Yeah, little technical thing, difficulty sometimes. Yeah. But okay, smart.
Smart, fearless. Yeah, fearless.
Why fearless?
Because you can't be afraid to say certain things. Because whenever you say things, you know it's going to be some type of feedback. And so you have to be brave enough to speak your mind, say what you want to say, not necessarily coming from a mean place, but an honest place. And it takes you have to be fearless to be honest. You know that.
Right.
It's much easier to lie a lot, especially, and the comics who are funny to me are the ones who aren't afraid to be vulnerable. They open themselves up. They say things about themselves and make fun of themselves in a way that you're like, wow, I can't believe they actually said that.
Right. Yeah, that is true honesty. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to play a game called Finish the Thought. Okay. All right, so we'll be back. More Living a Rich Life here on BeExposedRadio.com featuring the comedian Larry Lancaster. We'll be right back.
And we're back with more Cheryl Underwood Radio.
Thank you, super producer. In case you missed it, I'm trying to get my crew to go to the movies more often, because then we could know what's happening in the movies, and then we could discuss it on the show. Which we got to get Jamie Brown to come back, because he goes to see all the movies.
He goes all the time.
All the movies.
Mm-hmm.
But Kyle, you were comparing The Kitchen, and the reason we're doing it in the sports bar where men come to talk and women come to eavesdrop is because here are three females in a movie: Elizabeth Moss, Tiffany Haddish, and Melissa McCarthy, in a movie that people are hopeful that women could take the lead in action films, right? You said they kind of missed the mark, but I thought you said the Widows missed the mark for
I
you
didn't
too?
like Widows at all. Now, this was better than Widows to me. I didn't like Widows because, like I said, these are women who their husbands were killed, and it was their turn to step up. It's a similar premise. Husbands killed, it's time for us to put in the work. I think I just want them to be just as gangster as the men, and they're not doing that. And then sometimes there's a moment where the ladies got to square off and bust a cap on somebody's head, and they don't do that either. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like the antagonists and protagonists. Antagonists and protagonists are squaring off in the end, and somebody's head got to go exploded. I don't need y'all holding hands and walking down the street.
It was a soft movie. You trying to say it was soft?
Yeah.
At the end, I didn't like the end. And just different parts in it, it's just like, what? Why do y'all respect them? They haven't earned your respect with muscle.
So I guess now, Jim, did you see this movie or did you?
No, I didn't.
No, but you won't go see it now, right?
I'll go see it if I have
You'll
to.
wait until it comes on, like Courtney said. She's waiting. She's gonna wait.
I'll probably wait for it.
Well, see, here's my feeling about this. We have a movie script called The Cleanup Woman.
Don't do it. No,
don't say it.
I guess it's already out there. Yeah,
Well,
don't do it.
I won't say what the whole premise is, but I will say the reason that I wrote the story that became the script is because I want to do action films, and I want to be Dirty Harry.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to Living a Rich Life talk show featuring the one and only Larry Lancaster. We was chopping it up offline because like all the time the offline discussions are usually pretty good. So, but we're gonna keep it going here. So, we took a break, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna play this game called Finish the Thought. All right, nothing is off the table.
Okay.
All right, and you can just run with it.
This sounds like a setup, man.
You can run with it as long as you want. All right, so
Okay.
finish the thought. When I was younger, I used to
Drink water out the toilet.
Oh, damn.
I can't believe I said that, but I did, man. I used to get up in the middle of the night. I was like like a kid, like 3, 4, 5. You know, Coach, I didn't know anything about germs and how nasty that was.
Right.
And, I didn't want to turn the faucet on because then people would know I was up. They would hear it. and they would know I wasn't supposed to be up.
Okay.
So I would drink, and it would used to be so cold. Oh, the water from the toilet. I used to love it. I mean, I'm embarrassed to say that now, of course, because now I think back, like, man, that was disgusting. But yeah, I used to drink water out the toilet.
Okay. Oh, goodness. If I wasn't doing comedy, then
I would be a fashion designer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I seen a couple of your photos.
That was my first love. I was an artist. I used to draw and stuff like that, and I actually went to Carver High School to be a fashion designer. But I was such a knucklehead that I squandered that. But I'm really, that's one of my passions. Fashion. Love fashion.
Okay, fashion with passion. Okay. My last girlfriend was.
The first word is crazy. I always think, but people always say that's an ongoing thing. So it must be me. I must drive them to that point. So I'll say, I won't say that. I'll just say I was blessed to always been in contact with great women.
Okay. So
it was always
last girlfriend.
Me. Yeah.
My last girlfriend was a great woman. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm gonna love this one here. The best part of being a comedian is
the lifestyle. Like, where else can you drink on the job? You know what I mean?
True.
You out late, you hanging out. Some of the things I get to do, some of the things I get to say, people pay you for your opinion.
Right.
And a lot of times that gets people in trouble. Like if you said what you said in corporate America or in certain circumstances, you would get in trouble. But people, they can't say anything because you paid to hear what I got to say.
Okay.
So I love that. I love the lifestyle and the freedom.
Okay. All right. When I see a person fall, I immediately
laugh inside. I'm that person. I'll laugh outwardly inside, but I'll make sure you're okay first. And then once I know you're okay, then I laugh in your face.
Oh my goodness! I seen this kid one day down at Pratt Street. I think that's the Hilton. The window was so clear that they ran into the glass. Yeah, when I tell you folks, there was no laughing on the inside. There was no laughing on the inside. Folks were just cracking up. All right, I got one more for you. I wouldn't vote for Trump if.
I wouldn't vote for Trump if. Or I would.
I would. Sorry, I would vote for Trump if.
That's a good one because.
Yeah, you can think about that one for a minute, dear.
I would vote for Trump if I was rich and white. And didn't give a damn about nobody else.
Oh my goodness!
That's
okay.
Under the only circumstances I can see anybody voting for Trump.
Gotcha. Okay. And then this weekend I plan to
make some money. I'm doing the fundraiser for the mayor. One of the fundraisers, yeah.
Okay.
They picked me to do the comedy for him.
Oh, nice. Is that something you can share with?
Light his ass up.
Oh, it's a roast. No, it's a roast type thing.
I don't want no trouble.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I know him. He's I know a lot of people talk about him, but I know him personally. He's a good guy.
Okay.
Now I want people also to know this: just because I perform at the fundraiser, that doesn't mean that I'm voting one way or another.
Right.
Because I've been asked to do different fundraisers, so that's not a declaration of who I will vote for. It's just I'm acting as an entertainer.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for playing. we're gonna keep it light on you. We're gonna keep it light on you because we got another game called Either Or.
Okay.
Later, Either Or.
All right. I'm ready, brother.
Okay. Good deal. So, as a comedian, sometimes what's your biggest fear, right? Because I can tell you sometimes, just in a profession, some people have a fear of speaking in public, right?
Well, that's the other thing. Like, because I had a background in public speaking coming from high school, I was always like the master of ceremonies, and I was always the person who would introduce the keynote speaking and stuff like that. By the time I started doing comedy, I didn't have a fear of speaking in front of people. It takes some people years just to get over the fear of doing that.
Right.
And then they have to work on being funny.
Right.
For me, I guess my biggest fear would be losing my faculties, like my mind not sharp.
Okay.
You know,
right.
And that's one of my biggest fears, because you could be wheelchair, but I knew some guys who was in the wheelchair that was funny. You got people who could do this profession with all kind of physical handicaps and things, but once your mind starts going, you can't do it.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. Role models. Do you have any role models out there?
Yeah.
And they not necessarily have to be comedians.
Right. Of course. I respect Dave because of the way he frames things. Chris Rock, Kevin Hart, for where he's taking a comedy commercially. Mm-hmm. Like, he's taking comedy just to a level that's never been seen. My dad was a great role model for me. My uncle, who's a pastor.
Okay.
My cousin Lee Michaels, I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's a prominent pastor, and he also is a radio personality.
Okay.
Ali, definitely one of my role models. Bruce Lee, love those guys. Malcolm X, Dr. King, of course.
Got a good range there.
Yeah,
different type of people.
It runs the gamut. I like Jim Carrey. If you ever listen to some of the stuff he says, real prominent, deep guy.
Okay.
And I'm sure I'm missing some people, but that's what comes to mind right now.
So does your family come out? You got any siblings?
Yeah, most of my family don't come to see me perform. They spend their money on other people. I remember one time I was at a funeral, and this is to show you how family sometimes don't support you. And I was listening to them talking about how they were going to buy their Jay-Z tickets for like hundreds of bucks. And most of them had never seen me perform.
Oh, wow, okay.
For $20.
Right.
So I just think people when they know you, they take you for granted. But my grandmother always told me Jesus wasn't even loved in his own land. So I look at it from that perspective.
Oh, nice.
And I don't worry about it.
Gotcha. Yeah, well, see, like I said, when we get there, because we're going to ask you that question of what does, living a rich life mean to you? And it's one of my elements is strong relationships. I thought of this show, just one, the pun off the name, Living a Rich Life.
Right.
Not necessarily dollars, but more so a lifestyle and things that are important to me.
Right.
Again, you mentioned the good health, right? Good health and having your faculties. So that's important.
Because you could be rich as I don't know what, man. Your health is bad. I mean, the money does you no good.
Exactly, right? So then again, having those connections, folks coming to your shows, and, it's funny that you mentioned that, because sometimes people that you don't even know will support you more than...
Yes. And that's not to say I haven't had family members support me.
No, agreed.
Not to the degree that you would think. Like, I had some cousins, they come out, my sister, they come out a lot. But a lot of times I had family that's not necessarily blood family, and just over the years, people coming to see you and support you, they become friends, then family.
Right.
So I really appreciate those relationships, and I never take them for granted. Anybody who support me, I never take that for granted.
Yeah, I will definitely say that too, because you always give love.
Yeah, because and you get it back.
Absolutely. Okay. So what's some of Larry Lancaster's hobbies outside of comedy? So you're not doing comedy. What's going on with
Well, I'm a clothes horse. I'm always online shopping. I think I have an addiction.
Okay.
I'm up late at night, man. I'm either looking at porn or I'm shopping on my two vices. I discovered.
Did he say that?
I was a late bloomer, man.
Okay.
X videos, that's my thing. And shopping. And I like working out. I like fitness, athletics. I used to play basketball a lot, used to box. I love martial arts, MMA, boxing, any of that stuff.
Okay.
I love music. I also, I've been blessed to have my own radio show now. I come on Saturdays, shameless plug, Saturdays, WEAA 88.9 from 10 to 12.
Okay, so did y'all catch that? Let's tell them again.
10 to 12, 88.9 WEAA, your alma mater, Morgan Station. I'm on from 10 to 12. It's called Throwback Saturdays with Larry Lancaster. And I play basically music from 80s, 90s, and early 2000s format. So it's like a throwback show, but I just love music.
And it's good. So I've listened to it.
Right. I remember you texting me and you was like, man, y'all rock, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I appreciate it. I like any of the arts. I love visual art because, as I said, I used to do visual arts when I was younger. I love physical stuff, sports and all of that, but I also love the arts, poetry, live music, like it's visual arts, all that. I love all of that stuff. So I'm somewhat of a Renaissance man.
Yeah. Now they have a, I want to say it's Howard Street. It's like, so are you into jazz and stuff like that? Yeah.
I do a lot of hosting for a lot of jazz clubs and a lot of jazz venues too. So I'm familiar with a lot of the prominent musicians in Baltimore. I got the pleasure to work with a lot of them. One of them, a brother named Mark Evans. He actually has you might want to get him on the show.
Yeah,
Mark good brother. Evans. Yeah, he travels all over the country. He does great music. A guy named Kid Johnson. He used to do a concert series called Purple Honey. Great concert series. It was like comedy, poetry, neo soul, jazz, all in one show. Great show. He actually is doing events over at the UB Blake Center.
That's what I was talking about.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So he does stuff over there too, and he would get me to host because it's a different kind of cadence when you do comedy for like a jazz crowd.
Right.
Yeah. So I enjoy doing that. Generally, an older crowd. You got to be able to relate to them. You can't, they don't want to hear a whole lot of gratuitous vulgarity for nothing. Right. You can open them up and they'll rock with you. Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to run down some of the other stuff because I want to make sure folks understand who you are.
Mm-hmm.
I think 2020. I call this the 2020 experience. Shout out to my man Dwight Sherrod. 2020 experience is going to be great, just overall.
Mm-hmm.
And I see great things because, again, like I said, you're a funny brother.
Thank you, man.
So what was it like, just recently, I saw Bruce, and you've opened up for him.
Right.
Hilarious brother.
Yeah, and a nice brother, nice guy.
Yeah. What was it like opening up? Was there any favorite? Do I dare say that? But, because you opened up in here, just I'm looking, Bruce.
A lot of people don't understand. Sometimes comics can be assholes. You see people on TV, and when people make you laugh, you generally think you associate that with being a nice person.
Right.
But some comics are egotistic, egomaniacs. They're not good people. And when you meet them, you're like, damn, he an asshole.
Right. Yeah.
Bruce was a good brother though, real cool guy, down to earth.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart was one of the nicest people I ever met. Just a really a great person. Mike Epps was really cool when I met him. I worked with Cedric, the entertainer, real nice guy. Mark Curry, great guy. Eddie Griffin was one of the coolest guys ever. Rodney Perry, great brother, real nice guy. Gary Owens was cool. He was a little standoffish when I first met him, but then as we got to rapping and talking, he was cool. Carlos Miller, Chico Bean, I work with all those guys. The 95, they do the 85 South show now. They doing really well. Real cool guys. The only person, I'm gonna tell you something. The only person I met that was an asshole.
I love it.
Tracy Morgan. Yeah, he was, and I was really disappointed by that. He just didn't seem like he was in a happy space in his life.
Gotcha.
And so the other thing was, he was doing 30 Rock, Emmy Award winning show. Like he had the crossover. He making major money. He doing great. And so we were supposed to open up for him, myself and another comic. He basically kicked us off the show. He didn't want us opening up for him. He had a guy who was writing for him open up for him. So we had to go out and pretend like we were with the radio station who was hosting the event. And kind of do our jokes, like almost sneak our jokes in.
Right.
And because he didn't want any other comics on the show. And I just think when comics do that, I understand sometimes why they do it, but I just think it's selfish.
Gotcha.
Because you got a break. Somebody allowed you to be on the platform.
Right.
You got to share it too.
Absolutely.
And a lot of comics, when they get to a certain level, they don't. Right. And you'd be surprised how many black comics come to a spot, say like you do a white club, which is, you got urban and you got mainstream.
Right, okay.
So a lot of times when a black comic does a white club, they'll tell the owner, I don't want no black guys on the show with me. Black comics. Like they got a premium on being black because they want to look special.
Wow.
Then you know the club owners won't necessarily put you with a white comic.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're not going to put me on the same show with Larry the Cable Guy. You understand?
Right.
So you catch it from both ends.
Gotcha.
So to the comics out there, big time comics, Stop being so damn selfish, man. Share your platform so somebody else could come up too. The same way somebody helped you. You didn't come up by yourself.
Right. Agree. Yeah, we're gonna keep pushing Larry Lancaster though. Baby.
Yeah.
You
got to give back.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely keep pushing, because like I said, you a funny brother. I be like, damn.
You sound shocked, man. Like
I'm not shocked.
Right.
I just was like, yo, this dude was funny. This dude, I mean, really consistent. I mean, because it's kind of like good horror movies these days, right? Trying to find a comedian that's actually funny, to me has been difficult and challenging, because I haven't been into a comedy show in a while.
Okay. No, well, you got to get out more, man. It's not that people aren't funny. You just got to get your ass out the house, get out the studio. You got to get out.
All right. Well, we'll see.
You're living the rich life, but you got to go to some comedy and see some. There's a lot of talented people out there. A lot of people doing some good stuff.
We're gonna do that. All right. We're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna have something I call a rich life moment in time. All right. So we'll be back. More Larry Lancaster featured here on Living a Rich Life Talk Show, BeExposedRadio.com. We'll be right back. Yeah.
Like keys only have this bitch jumping. Okay. If I sit around, hold up. Look. If I sit around, hold up. Yeah. Rebel rough. Let's do it. If I sit around, I'ma smoke some more. Wasn't even thinking about smoke before, but I'm in my head and I'm in the bed. Don't know who I am, like I'm wearing a mask. Working mode, tell him where the cash. If you wear the cash, tell him where the cash. If you playing for you, gon' run it back. Don't make promises, but I promise that. Don't promise me, cause I ain't into that. Fell in love with that and got hurt from that. Now it's all over and the curtains back. Can't see you not noticing that. I'm letting it go, it ain't holding me back. Yeah, I'm on dice, but ain't come for the crap. Drinking with uncle, we only do jack. How I'm alive, I thank God for that. Praying about it, things getting better. Open it up with my name on the letter. Why you crazy about it? Saying whatever you shout to be.
You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. So deeply wounded, but don't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. So you just sit there and you suffer in silence. Your pride won't let you just uncover your secret. Don't wanna look weak in your image, it ain't worth losing. So you just act as if it's nothing happening. God sees you, and God hears you. Yes, God loves you. You're like an internal bleeder. Can't see your pain, but it can silently kill ya. Suicidal, depressed, but you won't say a thing. Too afraid of what the people may say or think. You feel alone even though the people surround you. Popping pills every night even though you know they can't solve it. The emotional pain, it just seems way too heavy. Your mind is racing, wanna scream, somebody help me. God sees you, and God hears you. Yes, God loves you.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Absolutely. So we're back. We're back here, Living a Rich Life Talk Show, featuring Larry Lancaster, chopping it up. So let's talk about before we get into the rich life moment in time. Let's talk about some of the other things that that you're doing outside of comedy? You know, because I know as a comic, you probably your day starts later in the evening. Are you a mentor? Do you mentor folks?
Yeah. I'm a mentor. I mentor kids. That's my way of giving back. I actually started mentoring in a elementary school with inner city kids, man, because they really need it. And so that's really fulfilling. And see, this is what was happening. I was living my dream as a comedian. I wasn't working for anybody. I was making pretty good money, but I wasn't feeling fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
I was sleeping all day. I was I would stay out all night, man, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, hanging out.
That's that lifestyle thing you mentioned, right?
And I would sleep till 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon.
Oh my goodness.
And you know, you always tell yourself, I'm gonna get up at this time and do this and do that. I was sleeping my life away, and then I started getting depressed.
Okay.
And so another young comic that I used to mentor, real good brother, he told me he was mentoring in a school. And I was like, man, I would love to do that, but I didn't think I had the time.
Okay.
So I'm always wanted to mentor kids, but you know, I didn't think I could do it in the evenings because, you know, in the evening, that's when I work. So he was like, no, man, I work in the school, you know, during the day. And I was like, well, I ain't doing nothing during the day.
Right.
I ain't get paid for it.
Right.
You know, so it was like God blessed me with that. It's challenging work. It's very difficult, but it's very fulfilling because you really can make an impact on a child's life, man. And when you see a kid 2 or 3 years later, even a kid that you didn't think liked you or paid attention to you, and they'll run up to you, hey, Mr. Lancaster, and hug you, because children remember the people in their lives who treated them well, who treated them good, who were honorable, respectable people. And I think, not to get off the topic, but a lot of times, you know, as older black people, we talk about kids don't have no respect and they so disrespectful. Well, they're disrespectful as a result of us. Mm-hmm. We had to take the responsibility for that, because children only know what they see. And so if you're not parenting right, if you're not spending time with the children, if you're exposing children to things that they shouldn't see, then that's the product. So they have to see honorable, respectable adults in their lives, so they know that everybody's not
the same.
The same.
Gotcha,
and so it's not like when we came up.
Right.
Just being an adult afforded you respect.
Right.
It's not like that now.
Yeah.
Kids like, you got to show me. You got to prove it to me who you are. And they keep you honest. They keep you grounded, because they have the power of discernment. If you try to fake them, if you try to lie to them, if you try to fool them, they sniff you out and they don't deal with you.
Yeah. That is a good point. That is definitely a good point.
So that actually has helped me in my comedy, you know, learning how to navigate through those relationships and building that rapport with a kid.
Okay.
Especially today's kid. Inner city kid, it's tough, man.
Right.
It's tough.
Yeah, and now you're a native Baltimorean.
Yes.
Okay.
Born and bred from Douglas Project. So I had a rough childhood. You know, I actually started doing comedy as a defense mechanism, because my mom, she, you know, had mental illness. Mm-hmm. And so I had a real rough childhood dealing with that. We were, you know, poor. We lived up in the hood, fighting, drugs, murder, shooting, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so for me, I started telling jokes to defend myself, because the kids used to tease me about my mom.
Okay.
Or, you know, if you don't have the fly designer clothes and all that stuff. You know, oh, you got on some Lees, you got on Levi's. You know, everybody poor. But everybody want to be the richest poor person.
Right.
And so it's a certain mentality that you adapt, you know. And so I had to defend myself against that, and that turned into, it started out as a defense mechanism, then it turned into a skill. And this is something that just developed over time, and I was able to take it to the stage.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. Well, that makes sense to me. Mm-hmm. You say everybody's poor.
Right.
Who can be the?
We all living in the projects, but it's like, oh, he got on the designers, he got on the Yeezys. You know, it's they take different. Back then, it was top 10 Nikes, or, you know, Adidas or whatever, Nance Yeezys,
Jordache, and Lees.
Right, Nance Balmains or whatever they wearing now. It's just ridiculous stuff.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So as I mentioned, it's a living a rich life moment in time, in which what I do is, so I can show you better than I can tell you what I like to do. Oh, I ain't as young as I used to be.
I was about to say, don't tell me you got a vision board. You done broke out the vision board on me.
Oh, not necessarily a vision board. Oh, damn.
It's close though.
Yeah, well, this is where I like to put you on the wall of fame. So,
okay, brother.
It's the Living a Rich Life Wall of Fame. And you're actually going to be the last guest for this segment of this wall here.
Okay.
So,
yeah, because you're running out of space here, man.
Yeah. So, by all means, feel free to sign anywhere you like. You see some space.
Okay. I'll make that happen. Do I have to do it now? I can wait till
well, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'll wait till we.
Yeah. You get your thoughts together, whatever cases, and we'll keep going. We'll keep going. So what I do want to kind of make sure folks understand. So what's coming next for you, right? So tell us what's coming next.
Again, I have a show Thursday night, which I do the fourth Thursday of the month at a spot called The Place Lounge.
Okay.
Minority-owned, beautiful spot. Nice little quaint spot. I do that the fourth Thursday of the month at 8 o'clock. Also, I do Mornings with Mikkel on Friday mornings, but she's on from 6 to 10, so I do that with her, co-host, but that's her show, so I'm just a guest on it.
Okay.
And so then my show is Saturdays from 10 to 12.
10 to 12.
Saturday mornings from 10 to 12, WEAA 88.9. I'm also going to be performing with Chelsea Green, great violinist. I believe that's Valentine's Day. Is the 14th?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going to be doing that with her the 14th. So you guys can go on social media and check that out, or go on Eventbrite. And then February I think it's the 9th or the 8th. I'm going to be at the DC Draft House.
Okay.
With a real funny sister named Adela Banks.
So we got February 8th, February 14th.
Right.
We got 4th Thursdays.
I want to make sure I get the dates right, because sometimes I mess the dates up. I have people showing up somewhere and like, this place look like it's closed. Yeah, this February the 9th at the Draft House.
Ah, okay.
Comedy Theater. That's in D.C.
Okay.
So that's the 9th. And then the 14th, I'll be with Chelsea Green. If you never saw her, man, awesome.
So I think I've seen her at philanthropic event.
Yeah, she's awesome.
She
and
was
so
definitely very
then
good.
February the 29th, I'm going to be on an Alpha Male comedy tour with my headliner Ray Grady, one of the funniest brothers ever, man. Like, I'm so waiting for the world to see this brother. Like, he is like a once in a lifetime talent. Real funny brother. He can act. He could do everything. So it'll be him, myself, bald head, and a real funny brother. He's also an internet sensation, but he's a real comedian named Antoine Scott out of Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
So all three of us will be on the show.
All right. So we got some dates there. We're gonna make sure that folks know that. So we're gonna push that on my social media as well. Make sure.
And tonight I'm looking past things. I'm going to be at my man DJ Quicksilver. You know, he got a nightclub, Club Downtown. I'm going to be performing tonight at his club at 8 o'clock with my girl Chi Chi, my man Sir Alex, Woo Woo, Chris Style, my boy Poppy the Bear. A lot of good local young talent.
Okay.
So I'm real excited. I always like working with the young comics, man. I'm like the grandpapa. So yeah, I'll close that show out tonight at 8 o'clock at Club Downtown.
Club Downtown tonight, Larry Lancaster. Yes. Right now he's here on Living a Rich Life Talk Show. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We're going to chop it up some more. We're going to get into the evolution of comedy, see where it was and where it's going. So we'll be right back. More Living a Rich Life Talk Show featuring Larry Lancaster here on BeExposedRadio.com. We'll be right back.
Check out this flashback from the Artist Exchange radio show.
That's the biggest thing, is just empowerment. Just get off of the begging line. Just be proud and just get our pride and our dignity back, because as a child, we're taught how to go and beg for a job. Our parents, they literally taught us how to make sure you pull your pants up. Me, I'm 6'7", so I'm a bigger man. I was always taught how to not be threatening or intimidate people when I go into different interviews or in different scenarios. And so we're literally taught how to condition ourselves, condition our speech, everything in order to go and beg these people for a job, because we know when we walk in the door, I have to tear down 10 stereotypes before I get past hello. So we need to eliminate that. You know, and we need to eliminate that, and the way that we do that is employing ourselves and employing our brothers and sisters. And so that's our mission, is group economics, uplift ourselves, because I can't empower anyone until I empower myself, and change from just being willing because it's in my heart and my passion to see my people succeed and see us do better, and change the social order, because I know that we are not supposed to be on bottom. I understand who I was. I know I didn't fall out of the sky and land on a plantation. So when you have knowledge of self and you know who you are and what you come from, it's frustrating more than anything to see us in this position.
Tune into the Artist Exchange every Friday 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Saturday 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. live on BeExposedRadio.com.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to Living a Rich Life talk show featuring comedian Larry Lancaster. He's saying our station, our studio is a little cold
Man,
here.
it's cold as a hooker's heart in here, man. I'm trying not to look. I'm about to jump up and do some jumping jacks or some push-ups or something. And you chilling. Like, you must be used to it.
Well, you know, it's normally not that cold
Y'all
in
need
here.
a space heater, man. For real. Y'all need something. This is...
Oh, my goodness. That's terrible. That's terrible. Don't talk about us.
I can't wait to get outside to the heat. It's cold as hell outside, but that's...
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
this guy here. Listen to him. All right, so let's ask the question here. If there was one message that you can give to your supporters, what would it be? If there's something that you want your supporters to know about Larry Lancaster, tell us what would it be?
That I really and truly appreciate you guys.
Okay.
From the bottom of my heart. I think sometimes people go to a comedy show and comments forget that they may be disrespectful to the audience.
Mhm.
They may pick somebody out and crack on them for 20, 30 minutes. Like, that doesn't show appreciation to your audience. Now, if somebody's heckling and they just won't shut up and you have to fry their ass, then they asking for it. But I really want my supporters to know that I really, really appreciate them.
Okay.
And they show me love too. Like, I hear some comments complain, oh man, you know, and I understand where that comes from, but I've always gotten a real good response from people.
Mhm.
That I can count on one hand the negative responses that I've gotten from somebody. And I'm not talking about constructive criticism. I'm talking about when somebody just was negative.
Right.
I've had a few instances like that, but I can count them on one hand. And so when people do that, I don't even give it a lot of energy. I just say, you have a good night and keep it moving.
Right.
Because I would rather spend that energy on somebody who has something positive and constructive to say.
How, when you first started some 20 years ago, what was that first experience like, right? So was you just like right off the bat, you know, you won that contest?
Right.
But you just lit them, because sometimes, you know, that's that first experience is...
Well, what happens is sometimes people go years working things out before they get funny.
Mhm,
And so I was kind of spoiled because I actually came right out the gate and I did well. I can't say I was funny because that's a progression.
Right.
But I got laughs right out the gate.
Okay.
And I was supposed to be on stage for 7 minutes. I ended up doing 12 because I didn't know, you know, in the comedy they give you the light off the side of the stage. That means get off.
Right.
I didn't know what the light was. I was so green.
Right, okay.
I did like 12 minutes of penis material because that was my comedy intelligence at the time.
Okay.
And but it's really progressed because you got a lot more people doing it.
Right.
You got the younger generation, they're more independent. You got social media now, so people aren't really waiting to get discovered. People are creating their own lanes.
Right, yeah.
So you have people who are becoming millionaires and going on tours and doing setting up things just from the phone now.
Right.
And see, I didn't come up in that era. So it was kind of hard for me to then take what I was doing and then transfer that to social media. I still haven't figured it out.
Right, yeah.
And I'm not used to doing it. So it's not, I got kind of, because you know, we were taught, get funny, go to New York, go to LA, somebody discover you, then you get a sitcom, then you get a movie, you know, and it was taught that way. Now it's people are putting their own content, they're creating their own content. And whether it's good or bad, if they get a following, then that's all that matters. Now I appreciate that and it's great, and I love the way the young cats are getting their money. Now the downside to that is a lot of them aren't really getting that skill level that they need.
Right. Okay.
So some people are getting famous before they get funny.
Right.
And the club owners don't care. If you got a club and you can sell the club out, they don't give a damn if you're a great comic.
Right.
All they want is my bar and my drink and everything else is doing well, and I got ticket sales. And so sometimes the comics get a false sense of security, and they get a certain degree of arrogance towards the other comics who may not be as well off as they are, but their skill level may be better. So I might be a 20-year veteran. Club owner might pay me $1,000 to open up for a guy who only got 7 minutes worth of material. But if 1,000 people came to see him, who cares? And so it's kind of turned the comedy game upside down in a good way, but there's also a downside to it too.
Some balance.
And then you got people who they steal material because they haven't spent the time developing their own material. They haven't spent the time developing their own persona, their own who they are. All they have is the social media aspect of it. And so, you know, but I mean, who's to say I would be any different if I had 1,000 people coming to see me and I had to give them something? You know what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily a judgment, it's more of an observation.
Right. Nah, I think whatever is, because again, whatever's for you is for you. Right. And again, like I said, I got back into actually going and seeing comics because of you.
Oh wow! I'm glad I can be responsible for that. You getting out the house.
Yeah. And you know, and then like I said, I'm gonna bring some folks to the show, and you know, we just gonna continue to come and support.
Well, I appreciate that.
As I tell other guests that have been on here, I think we can all win.
Right.
Like you said, when it comes down to supporting each other, so we can all win. We can definitely all win.
So to answer your question, I know sometimes I'm long-winded with my answers.
No, that's good.
Social media has been the biggest change as far as comedy, but with all entertainment, social media has kind of changed the game.
Okay, all right, but that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. So someone asked, have you ever Googled yourself?
No, but other people have Googled me and they've told me what comes up. Some people have been like really impressed, like, oh my God, you know, like especially if I'm working in the elementary school, I'm just Mr. Lancaster to the kids. Right. And I like that. It gives me that, because I got a crazy ego. Like if I let my ego, if I didn't check it, my head will be big as this room.
Okay.
So what I like about children is they don't care about none of that. So I'm just Mr. Lancaster, guy who might be getting on their nerves or telling them get out the hallway or whatever. So when some of the staff will Google me and like, you're a real live entertainer, you know, all the stuff that comes up, and I'm just like, yeah, it's like I'm Clark Kent right now. At night I'm Superman. Right now I'm Clark Kent, and I like that balance.
Okay. Oh goodness, that is funny. So let's talk about this. Did you ever think? So what did you do before? Right. So 20 years. What did you do before you got into comedy?
I actually was a corrections officer. I did that for 13 years, and I actually started doing comedy while I was working in corrections.
Okay.
So I worked 3 years at the penitentiary, and then I left the Division of Corrections, and I went to Baltimore County Bureau of Corrections, and I worked at Baltimore County Detention Center for 10 years. And that's when I started doing comedy. And my first supporters were my fellow corrections officers.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say the inmates.
No, they used to come 20, 30 deep to every show.
Yeah.
And they really supported me. So I always remembered like how they used to support me when I had 5 minutes, you know, and I was in open mic competitions and stuff like that. They would always come as a group and support me.
Okay.
So I always remember that, and I always appreciate that. And to this day, they tell we so proud of you, you know, because they remember when I was, you know, had this much time, and I was, you know, doing little, you know, my material wasn't that sophisticated. I won't say it wasn't intelligent, but not that sophisticated. And to see what it is now, and see the progression.
Yeah, because at Magoobies, you were the headliner. The first guy that went,
Mike Quinlan.
Yeah, he was okay.
Yeah, it's tough when you open up the show, Because it's a cold audience and they're not warm, and you have to warm them up, and you only get 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But he's a funny guy and a good guy too. I like him.
And the host he was pretty good too.
Yeah, the host was Mike Quinlan, and then the other guy that came just before me was Matt Brown.
Okay, yeah,
and I loved his comedy. Like he's just weird and quirky to me, but I love his comedy style.
Yeah, that was a good, definitely a good. That was a great show. That was a great show. So you already mentioned about what you're passionate about. So let's kind of talk about the evolution of comedy, right?
Okay.
Where comedy back in the days, what your thoughts are from then up until now, right? So you kind of mentioned social media. That's a big change.
That was a game changer.
Do you think it's kind of the same, just in terms of the industry? Do you think it's still kind of that same flavor? Do you think there's more comedians? And do I dare even say black comedians? But which kind of how you think have things evolved into a better place? Because when you think about it, then I'll let you answer because I can talk a dog off a meat wagon.
Right.
Because you think about we still talk about Richard Pryor.
Right.
We still talk about Red Fox.
Right.
Bernie Mac,
Kings of Comedy, those guys, Def Jam,
John Witherspoon. I said Bernie Mac, may they rest in peace. Those heavy hitters, and it even took Bernie Mac some time for him to get his shine.
To get the crossover shine. He always was a king in the black community. But to get that crossover appeal where he can have a sitcom, where they would, and not just a black sitcom. Not that, to me, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right.
And I think a lot of times people say that, but my grandma always told me, like who like you. So black people coming to see you, I don't understand why people always feel the need to cross over. If they not checking for you, so what?
Right.
Because they don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't say, oh, I want black people to jump on and like this too.
Right.
They okay with whatever their audience may be, and they make a living and they thrive off of that. And I think we need to stop doing that.
I agree.
Always thinking we have to cross over. Now, if you get to a certain point and then white people say, oh, I like what he's doing over here, then they crossed over.
Right.
You don't have to do it.
Yeah.
We do that a lot with music. And I guess we feel like, and what it does is it diminishes the black patronage.
Yeah.
Because it almost says, I'm not validated until I have white people validate me. Right. It's always that slave mentality where I'm not good until the white people say I'm good.
Okay.
When the black people been loving you for years.
For years.
And that's what I always respected about Tyler Perry. He was fine doing what he was doing. He was a millionaire, doing it his way, doing the chitlin circuit or whatever you want to call it. Hollywood came to him. He didn't go to them. And then by the time they came to him, he was able to make demands on his own terms. Because he could walk away and say, look, I'm okay with $5-10 million.
Right.
I don't have to have 100. That's nice.
Right. No,
but and even with Chappelle was making a great living during the college tours.
Yeah.
Before anybody even, he had a cult following. That's really what blew the show up. Young white college kids. And then it crossed over.
Right, yeah.
And word of mouth, and then the mainstream jumped on it.
That's
so sometimes you just got to stick to what you're doing, find your niche, work that till the wheels fall off, and be okay with that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that. And that's what I see for you. You just keep working. You keep working, keep working.
And I try not to become an old bitter comic because you see people that may not be as funny as you, so you think, or may not be as experienced as you, or may not have put in the dues, and they are much further along. You can't be envious of that.
Right.
Like you said, what's for you is for you.
Right.
So that's their path. I just put my head down and keep doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't get into, oh man, this person, because you become the old bitter person.
Right.
Be happy for them. Let them rock out. I'm over here doing my thing, and I'm happy doing what I'm doing.
Yeah. I said, a lot of folks say, so who's on your show this week? I said, Larry Lancaster. It was like, the comedian. And as we was talking, like I said, when you first started, I remember you had the CDs.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And
so, that's the technology's changed.
Yeah.
Because you look crazy handing out a CD now. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, people are doing T-shirts, they're doing different things.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, it's a lot that's happened in 20 years.
Right.
You got more independent networks. We didn't have Netflix. We didn't have Amazon. We didn't have Hulu. We didn't have none of that stuff. There was no Facebook.
Right.
Yeah. It was in the infancy. Instagram. wasn't really around like that. You know, all these, even the use of the cell phone was different.
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of things has changed.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. You ever think about getting in doing a podcast? I've seen a couple other folks doing.
But I actually have a podcast. We do a live wire podcast with myself, Ray Diva, who's a comedian, Henry Jones, who's a comedian, and a DJ named A-Rod. He's funny though. A-Rod should be a writer. He's a DJ, but he's hilarious.
Yeah.
So we actually do have a podcast.
Okay. Well, we can just try to share with the folks.
The Live Wire podcast, and we generally are on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock, 7 to 8.
Okay. Okay. So you got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, man. Try to keep things juggling.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, question here. Given a chance, I thought this was a really good question. Given a chance to interview any stand-up comedian, who will you interview, and what will be that one question for him or her that would tickle their fancy, I guess? What would be that one question? First, stand-up comedian, if you had a chance to interview, who would you interview?
Bill Cosby.
You know what? I said Bill's name's going to come up during this interview.
And the one question would be, why? And that's not the kick on him, you know what I mean? But right. Why was you drug women that was going to sleep with you anyway?
Oh, goodness.
That's like going to Popeyes talking about I'm hunting chicken. The chicken is already prepared. You don't have to do nothing or order what you want and eat.
Oh, goodness. Did you say?
Yeah, it would have to be. And you got to think about the legacy that was destroyed.
Yeah.
How much money that he gave to HBCUs. How he changed the game with a different world. How he made so many black people want to go to school. How he changed the way black people looked at themselves from his show.
Yeah.
And you were America's dad, and you destroyed your legacy with that.
Right. So you believe that he drugged?
I didn't at first.
Okay.
And I still think some of it is sketchy, but I think he did enough.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because everybody, you can't just, I know, and I'm a conspiracy theorist. I was all on that. They just don't want him to have this and have that, but I think what happened was he was allowed to get away with it until he pissed the wrong people off. And then it became an issue.
Yeah, okay. He said, I said, well, I'm almost certain Bill's name was going to come up during this interview.
Because a lot of the comics that's like was at that altitude was saying everybody knew that you didn't take a drink from him, or you didn't drink around. Like they said, I wasn't in those circles.
Right.
But the people who were, they said everybody knew this.
Wow.
And so you get the perfect storm of the Me Too movement and all the other things that's going on, and then like they say, time's up.
Yeah. That's Bill Cosby, huh? Oh my goodness, Lord have mercy. Larry, I don't know what to do with you. I don't know what to do with you. Question for you. So, what's the most embarrassing thing that you did in school when you were a kid? All right, because folks usually think when you're comedy that in comedy when you start, this is just something that was just in the works and bound to happen. All right, we're gonna take a quick break.
Okay.
And then we come back and kick that off right quick. All right.
Okay.
So we'll be back. Larry Lancaster, Living a Rich Life talk show here on BeExposedRadio.com. We'll be right back. We still going. We still going.
Whatever happened to the times when we cared for one another?
Sometimes the truth ain't always catchy as rap. Stop chasing cheese or you'll get stuck in a trap. Go get your crown and never render it back. No, it's blasphemy. Why would you treat yourself like that? Stop all that blasphemy. We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. You're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. Believe that. You're way too gifted to stop and listen. It's condescending, not to mention all of our ignorance is their permission to. I know you like to turn up like that, with a drink to pull up like that. Well, baby, there ain't nothing wrong with that. Just make sure the God in you stays where it's at. You're the rising sun of a new day begun. Grind on till victory's won. I pray you do your thing till earth and heaven ring. Just don't forget where you come from.
You know, let me talk to him. Oh, you ain't know? You ain't heard it before? That spirit you take for granted is the God in your soul. It's a price that you owe. It can never be owned. So for this valued dollar, it can never be sold. We were kings and queens in the motherland. Problem is we shouldn't have spared the rod or the father's hand. Yo, where the fathers at? Kids raising kids. So basically they never really raised but more assisted. Thrown to the system for criminal definition instead of dreaming for better and taking care of your business. I promise. We've been gods from the crib. Thing is, you can call a king a slave if he don't know who he is. Man, it's blasphemy.
Why would you treat yourself like that? Stop all that blasphemy. We didn't come this far just to fall right back. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. You're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. You're a god. Baby, you're a god. God, God, God. Baby, you're a god. Believe that.
Be Exposed Radio.
Well, if you made them, take care of them.
Yeah, that's
Period.
the real.
You right.
That's the real deal.
It's period.
Right. And all that old money shouldn't go toward this, money should go to if the child is with one of the parents 24/7, 7 days a week. You don't even come get your child every day. You come get your child once a month maybe, or once every 3 months.
Right.
You cannot dictate where that money goes, especially if the child ain't calling you about nothing. Now, if the child calling you every week, then you can question about where the child support is going. But if every time you pick up the child, they look nice, they ain't complaining about nothing, why are you worrying about where the money go at?
It is what it is. Radio show.
You are listening to BeExposedRadio.com.
Welcome back to Living a Rich Life. Once again, we're featuring Larry Lancaster, comedian, actor. So we good? We having a good time?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I got to tell you, like I said, I'm learning some things again off air. Some of the best conversation I like to have again is
right
when the camera's not rolling, boy. There's something wrong with you. Something wrong with you. All right. So I was asking you something before the break, and I totally forgot. So I'll have to. My brain ain't as sharp as it used to be. I don't lose my faculties. But let's take this question here.
That's that weed. That's that good stuff.
There you go. It might be. It's more edibles.
Okay.
Yeah. Edibles.
Man, you know I tried a brownie one time, and they always said, don't eat the whole damn thing. I ate a whole brownie. I was high for 3 days.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was like, I don't ever want to have that feeling again. I was so paranoid, man. I got up and went and sat in my car because I ain't want to be in the apartment. I was like, yeah.
No, I had that. Well, we ain't gonna talk. We'll talk about that later.
Right, it's another offline.
Right. There's another offline conversation. So, if you had to pick any character in a book, movie, or TV show, who is most similar to you, who would you choose? Like, so let's do the autobiography of Larry Lancaster.
I would say Dolomite. I don't know why the hell I said that.
Dolomite? Did you see that show?
Yeah, I saw it.
It's all right.
Yeah, I saw it.
Dolomite.
I would say Black Dynamite. That's
goodness.
Yeah, I like Black Dynamite. Did you ever just watch that? It was a cartoon.
Black.
Really? It was a movie too. Yeah, it was a movie. I'm more like Huey from the Boondocks. That's really me.
The Boon. Okay, now the Boondocks. I know about the
Huey
Boondocks.
from the Boondocks.
Oh,
we used to have the same hair and everything before I cut it. But just like a serious person, a militant person, a political person, and then that's another thing. A lot of times people think comedians are always trying to be funny all the time, and I had to learn not to put myself under that type of pressure to live up to other people's expectations.
Mm-hmm.
If you ever been around a comic who's trying to be funny all the time, it's annoying. It gets on your nerves. And so I just try not to. I'm okay with people not really thinking I'm funny unless they come to see me on stage. Even when I do podcasts or interviews, I think people are like waiting for me to start clowning out.
Right,
and when that doesn't happen, I'm hoping that's not the case
No,
tonight.
not at all.
But it's almost like they acted, man, God damn, you spoken funny, man. Nobody want to hear all that political shit, you know. And it's like comedians, generally speaking, are serious people.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so I think some comics try to live up to that. And what happens is they end up just saying stupid things or things that's inappropriate to push funny.
Right.
And I think if you got an interesting point of view and an interesting commentary, then share that with people, because sometimes that's more important than being funny.
Right. Yeah. I think what's important is not just being funny, but again, folks. My very first guest, Jason Bass, my guy.
Mm-hmm.
When I met him, it was hey, this guy is out and he's bringing folks to the events.
Mm-hmm.
But when I had him on the show and we had a conversation, it was like, oh wow, this dude is more than just
right.
So I know Larry.
Like when you talk to Chappelle and you listen to him interview, he's not crack you up, roll you on the floor funny. But his perspective and the way he thinks and the things that he thinks about is very interesting.
Right. Yep. I agreed. So. All right, so let's as we talk about evolution of comedy still. What tips would you give an aspiring new stand-up comedian? Right. So we talked about giving back and mentoring, all that good stuff. But what tips would you give?
I always say it's not what you do when they laugh; it's what you do when they don't laugh. Stay on stage as much as you can. And I think sometimes when I tell them that, they're like, damn, that's it? Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm. A lot of things can be worked out if you stay on stage. It's like that 10,000 hour theory.
Okay.
Where you're an expert. If you do something, you spend 10,000 hours doing something. The more you stay on stage, the better you become at it. And comedy is one of the few professions where you have to fail in front of people. It's not like being a basketball player where you can shoot jumpers in the gym 1,000 times by yourself.
Right.
And get that muscle memory down. You only can really know if something is going to work in front of an audience. And you got to test it and push it. And it may not work in front of an audience, but you got to do it in front of an audience and work it out. You can't just be funny in a room and then think you're going to be funny in front of people.
Right.
You have to learn and grow and fall on your face in front of the audience. Okay. So you got to stay on stage.
Okay. Yeah, that's similar. I think when I first started this show, I was a little nervous, but now things kind of just come naturally. Stay in front of the camera. So all right, I can dig that. Is there anything that you would do differently at this point in your life? Anything that you would do differently?
I probably would have. Not that I'm regretting it, because I actually, what happened was my plan was to go to LA, New York, blow up and all of that. But my girlfriend at the time got pregnant with my son. Okay. And there was no way I was going to leave him. And so I had already done that when I was in a marriage. I was married, had a daughter, and I was in the military. Her mom was from Europe.
Okay.
We moved here, lived here. She got pregnant, had
So
a
we
baby,
learned something else today.
everything.
You was in the military.
Right, I was a military man, Persian Gulf, combat, war veteran, all of that.
Oh, okay.
And so, this is the funny thing. She never adjusted here, so I promised her, if you don't like it here, then in 5 years we'll move back to Germany, where her family and everybody is. So she did that. She was there taking care of everything, setting up everything on that side. I was here, you know, selling everything, saving money, working, whatever, but I was doing comedy. And I couldn't let it go. But I kept my promise, sold everything, moved over there, and in 30 days I was like, I can't do it, I gotta go back. Because what happened was I had won a contest to open up for Cedric the Entertainer.
Right.
Do the contest, win the contest, got to perform with Cedric the Entertainer, Roland Powell, who was Little Duval now, he was calling himself Roland Powell, Prescott, and a guy named Jay Johnson. Real funny guys. And I got a standing ovation at the Lyric with 3,000 people. And it was the best feeling in my life. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane to Germany. So after that experience, I was bitten by the comedy, but I couldn't give it up. So I came back, pursued the comedy, you know, I broke it off, you know, told my, and she handled it much better than I would have handled it. So she was, you know, really cool about everything. And I had a girlfriend here, we fell in love, had a kid. And so when I had my son, I was so resentful and angry because I was like, already left the marriage and the kid to do this comedy thing, and now I'm right back where I started. But I have no regrets because I have a beautiful son, 16 years old, love him to death. I'm so proud of him. And so it's like I wasn't going to leave him to go to LA or New York and leave him to the streets of Baltimore, because we know what happens when you do that. So I stayed here for him, and I'm happy about it, because I got it. You know, sometimes when you get older, I was in a selfish mode. And you get older, and then you realize everything ain't about you. And so I've been able to still be a great dad and still be a comic. Just not at the level that, you know, it's a compromise. You can't have everything. People say you can, but you can't. You got all these people who, oh no, I'm gonna go get it, and they leave their children, leave their family. They come back, kids don't know them. That's why you know there's a lot of rich people in the business. The kids are jacked up because somebody else took care of them. They got resentment towards you or whatever. You buy them a bunch of stuff. You try to pay for their love. That doesn't work. So for me, I already did that once, like, you know, the relationship with my daughter, you know, we talk and everything, but it's not where I would like it to be. But that's a decision I made. It's not on her. So I was like, I'm not going to repeat that again with my son.
Okay, all right.
So I guess to answer your question, I would have done things differently just by, once you start bringing other lives into the equation, you can't just do what you think is right for you. You had to think for other people. And it took me a while to get that, because I was in my selfish mode. Even with him, running the street, you know, and not really being present as a father. And I had to really look at myself and like,
what do you need to do?
Are you doing the right thing by your kid?
Okay.
And so I had to change things.
All right. So I remember my question here now. So when you were a kid, what do you think your life did you think your life would look like it does now? Right. So
no. I mean, I was a kid from the projects, man. I never thought I'd be traveling all over the place and getting paid to make people laugh. Like, I never thought I'd be doing. I actually thought I was going to be an artist. Because that is what I was good at when I was a child. So everybody thought I was going to be an accomplished artist. So that's really what I thought my life would look like, in some form of doing that. But then when I discovered sports and girls, that was it. Because, you know, it's hard to be, like, I was a recluse. I was in the house drawing and, you know, perfecting my technique. And then when I got a social life, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't putting the time in.
Well, you know how women can be a distraction. Yes, indeedy. All right, so now I think it was, what was the most embarrassing thing you did at school when you were a kid? Well, so you mentioned like comedians, you know, and sometimes folks should expect you to be funny. Folks, you know, they expect me to always be smiling. So when I don't have a smile on my face,
You're one of those people. You have a certain energy. Even when I met you, you light the room up, and people know who you are.
Right.
So when you're not that person, it's like it makes everybody else feel weird because I think your energy is contagious, and you actually give it to other people. So when you don't have that energy, now they like, well, damn, what's wrong with her? Because they used to getting that energy from you.
Right.
For me, I think I was disrespectful to some of my teachers, and I know that's not necessary. But what happened was I was always the class clown. I thought I was smart. I thought I had all the answers. And I remember saying something to one of my English teachers. Now, this was a brilliant guy. And most brilliant people don't really put a lot of emphasis into how they look because they got other things on their minds. So you know me, I'm trying to come to school, fly every day. I'm late trying to be cute and all of that. And this man had written numerous books. He was a professor. He was a brilliant person. So he could care less with some high school kid. But I used to crack on his clothes all the time. His name was Mr. Calvin. I never forget him. He reminded me of a Morgan Freeman. Like if Morgan Freeman was your teacher.
Okay.
And so he was an older guy, you know, beard. You know, scraggly. He used to wear the same, like, you know, the little corduroy sports coats with the elbow patches. You know, the little khakis, button-down shirt, comfortable shoes, you know, Rockports or whatever. And so I would always crack on his clothes. I would get him, right? The class be cracking up. And one day, I guess he had enough. So Mr. Calvin, he stopped everything. He was like, you think it's easy to stand up here with little idiots like you making fun of somebody? And he tore into me, and I felt this small.
Oh, man.
And it just made me realize that, man, you a kid.
Right.
You know, this man got other things. And he used to say Einstein wore the same suit because he was more concerned with made a star burn than worrying about being fashionable. And once he broke that down, he even said the same thing about George Washington Carver. He's like, these are brilliant people. They don't care what people think of them. They're changing the world with their mind. And so it made me look at things differently. I still wanted to be fly. I just didn't downplay other people because they weren't.
Right.
And so, you know, you learn in these type of lessons. The other thing, it just hit me while I was talking. I was a little pervert when I was in high school. I was in middle school, and you know, you just growing the hormones and you going through puberty. I used to grab girls, you know, grab their butts, grab their breasts and stuff. You know, little girls just starting developing. I had no idea I was sexually assaulting somebody.
Right.
Because, you know, as a kid, you don't look at it like that.
Right.
And you know, the girls, they would laugh, kiki, you know, because they half like you or whatever.
Right.
And they don't even understand that you're letting somebody violate you.
Right.
And so working in a school now, I know how to tell kids this stuff because they don't understand.
Yeah.
And so one girl, she wasn't having it because most girls, they would laugh or, you know, I had this thing where I would walk up to girls, squeeze their breasts and make like the honk noise, like, and the little immature boys would crack up.
Right.
She ran and told the teacher. And then we had this teacher, he was our social studies teacher named Mr. Curry. And Mr. Curry was like real smooth, suave, older black guy, you know. And so when we got to the class, he let all the boys go in and he said, you stop right there. And he took my hand. He said, you see this? And he grabbed my hand like that. He said, I don't want to ever hear about you inappropriately touching a girl ever again. Do you understand what you're doing? And I felt, again, that moment where an adult made you understand that, yo, what you're doing is not cool. I know you think it is in your little minuscule mind, but this is not cool at all. And that's when I got it. And I never did that again. I mean, I still touched somebody, but it was consensual. It was, you know, I wasn't, because that really, I don't think sometimes kids don't understand the severity of what they're doing. You throw a rock at a car, you don't drive.
Oh my goodness.
You don't know you could kill multiple people because that concept just doesn't register with you.
Yeah. That's all those things when you mentioned it. I remember doing those silly things too.
As kids and not understanding the adult consequences
that comes with
that can happen with that stuff.
That is deep. All right, so 3 adjectives that describe your strengths, Larry Lancaster. Yeah.
Intelligent.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm thoroughly impressed. Again, not to say that I'm
Right.
surprised.
I thought you were stupid as hell.
You know what I mean?
I would say intelligent, honest, and extremely loyal. Yeah, loyal to a fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got people that's friends that people are like, you need to let them goddamn go. And just
let them go?
Wait, yeah, but I'm a very, very loyal person.
Yeah, some folk, I think that's a dying art for some, but I am. I remember one time when I was a kid, and me and two of my friends, she was working at the grocery, not the grocery, but she was working at Marshall's, and we went in there and we went to the register and everything was damn near free. And I took the weight for it.
Right.
I took the weight for it. She didn't get in trouble, and the other friend, I remember because my mama, she backhanded me. I was like, oh damn, I was a star athlete. Yeah, that wasn't a good look. But I think even now, just that level of loyalty. I have a few good friends now that are
right.
No matter what, good, bad, or indifferent, they'll give me the business, but they loyal. That's a dying breed.
Yeah,
so.
you need that. You always need somebody to tell you when you're messing up. Be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Or say, hey, well, that show was not the greatest. Because don't get me wrong, I tell you, I'd be like, that shit wasn't funny.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy? Most comics are harder on themselves than anybody. They'll tell, like you could, like somebody will come up to you and like, yo, that was a good, and I'm like, I'll be feeling it.
Right.
It wasn't your best work.
So have you felt like that before?
Yeah, many times.
Yeah.
And the feedback from the audience may have been great, but I knew.
Right. You could have.
I was like,
hell, I'm thinking so your last show at Magoo's, what'd you think about that one?
No, you know when you did great.
Right. So we knew that.
Yeah, you know when you did great. And you can feel it. Even sometimes when the audience may not think you did that great, as an artist, you like, yeah, I did something special.
Right.
Y'all ain't get it, but I got it.
Got it.
And you had those moments. Then you had the moments where you ain't get it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
So that night, tell me, what did you think of that? Because again, I
thought that was a great show.
Yeah.
I did I did a great show. The pacing, the timing, the
my
topics,
goodness.
the transitions, the last per minute, we call them LPMs.
Okay.
All of that was on point. And sometimes you like, I did enough to get through. Not that you intentionally did that, but every night, that's the beauty of comedy. Every night is different.
Right. How many days, I guess, during the week, right? And I guess that probably goes to your manager, whatever she books.
But it varies.
But, okay.
It varies. Some nights, I'm like, damn, I need a job. You know what I mean? And some nights it's like, man, I'm doing good. I'm rolling. Like it's up and down. Okay. And that's the thing when you're not in a major market or you're not a household word. I'm just funny as just about anybody, but that's not really how comedy is done now. It's done by how many asses you can put in the seats. Right. And so I'll be the first to say I'm not one of those people that you can say my name and 1,000 people gonna show up and fill up in the a spot. But
not yet.
But I will say is when you see me, you'll walk away generally satisfied.
Yeah.
Not like, dang, he was horrible. Even if I have an off night, I generally don't have people, they still could know that I'm funny.
Yeah. No. Folks definitely know you're funny. I don't see how they don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's subjective, so.
Okay. Well, we're gonna keep pushing it though. If nothing else, like I said, we can all. And you're a funny brother to me. I'm over here tearing up stuff.
I know you done went through like 3 mics.
That's because we got Aldo's the best.
Yeah, my man watching you too. Like, hey man, don't be dropping them shit.
Oh goodness.
I gotta take this back to radio show.
All right.
They not even open them.
There you go. So there's a question that we always ask here. But before I kind of mention out to some folks out there, my sponsors, I like to mention to them. So what does living a rich life mean to you? When you hear that phrase, you hear that term, right? And you still ain't signed, but hey.
No, I'm gonna do it.
Boom, I know you are.
I'm gonna do it.
What does living a rich life?
I just was kind of comfortable in my coldness, and I didn't want to disrupt that.
You saying your coldness?
I don't want to, do a whole lot of moving around.
Yeah,
a rich life is relationships. good relationships with other people, human capital. I used to think it was money and it was, material things, but it's having great relationships with people and having great life experiences.
Okay.
And a lot of times money can get you those things, but not all the time.
Right. I mean,
so it's like if you see a homeless person, is that really about money, or is that about what kind of relationships do you have with people that you can't even sleep on somebody's floor? So when you have good relationships with people, you can always get to the next thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's important. Human capital, relationships with people, a positive impact, giving back, not always taking but giving, which is not it's not always easy to do.
Right.
And life experiences. That's a rich life to me.
Okay. Well, I see. So what I like to generally do is when you compare, and everyone has a different answer, but the grand scheme of things, it all rolls up again. What I believe is to those 6 things, right? The good health, the strong relationship,
right?
And you're like, well, damn, what's going on that they can't sleep on someone's couch? And some, in all honesty, some folks choose to live that way.
Right, but so that's what I mean. Like, even if it's a relationship that they just don't want to be in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Some people would rather live on the street than they put up with somebody.
Yeah.
So that's still about the relationships.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
And then again, we're talking about financial freedom. Then like I said, you set your goals, right? So you say, hey, you know what? I can do this comedy thing.
And for me, that's where being able to have the experiences.
Right.
You got to have some type of financial freedom to have those experiences.
Yeah.
So.
Now, and so you're going, your next show, not even next show, but your next out-of-state show. Did you mention?
Well, it was DC. If you consider that out of state.
Well, okay,
out of
DC.
town,
Yeah. All right. So I want to just make sure folks know kind of what you have going on. So if we can run through that, because we're kind of coming to the closing part of the show. I want to make sure they know how to get in touch with you, and that's on Instagram.
Comedian Larry Lancaster on everything. Just look at Comedian Larry Lancaster.
Comedian Larry Lancaster. Yeah. Okay.
And when people follow me, I follow them back.
Right. Exactly. So be sure to follow him, please. February 9th, DC
Draft House.
Okay.
February 14th, Chelsea Green at Brookside Commons and Owens Mills.
February 29th.
And there's some shows in between there, but those are the things that I can remember.
Gotcha.
And also, don't forget tonight at Club Downtown, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Headlining, and the radio show, which I'm very proud of.
All right, absolutely.
Throwback Saturdays with comedian Larry Lancaster, WEAA 88.9, 10 to 12. And if you're out of state, you can go on the app. You can go to weea.org, or you can use one of the radio apps like radio.net, and still you can listen on your phone or whatever.
All right, good deal. So again, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you.
And it was definitely some good conversation. I want you to tune in next week. I have fundraising advisor, Miss Lauren Green, and she has she's an executive director of iMentor. But again, thank you for joining. Great conversation. Let me say that. This is a funny brother. Let's continue to support him. And you can find out all his information on my Instagram. So we're going to push that. We're going to put it on my site.
Cool.
And make sure folks know to come. And I'm going to bring some people out, too.
Yeah, thank you, man. Yeah. I need all the help I can get, bro.
Yeah, we're going to keep it going.
Thanks.
So again, Living a Rich Life talk show featuring Larry Lancaster. Be sure to tune in, watch him, follow him, support this comedian, because this is a funny brother. Thank you again for watching. Thank you for listening here on BeExposedRadio.com. Thank you and good night. We're going to go to a show.
Running on my face.
was the one for me. Ever since then, we've been vibing on some chemistry. It's just a matter of time. I know she feeling my vibe. I got the keys to her ride. She put her hands on my thigh. She got that look in her eye. SL what I'm riding. Royalty, call me highness. All day and overnighted. Cause it's crunch time when I'm grinding. This Adderall got me nauseous. Proceed with caution. Tired of lanes, I'm exhausted. Poppin' Zanny Zan, sipping out the faucet. I'm confused, don't know what I'm doing. Wait, what I'm doing? Got me going where the f I'm going. Out of space where I'm f going. Wait, where I'm going? Wait, where I'm going? Out of space where I'm going. Out of space where I'm going. I'll be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I'll be up in the way. 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 Can I talk to you? I've been working hard. I've been up all night. I just been so high. I feel nothing off the sands. Withdrawals killing me. I need something to sleep. Need you on top of me. I need to get high. Dreams designer all night. Chanel should be haunting my dreams. Wearing my clear on my sleeve. I'm not who you need me to be. Indigo sound for the team. Royalty sound for the team. Hippie vibing for the team. I need space, girl. I need to get out, yeah. Slow my motions, leaning. I've been out, yeah. Never worry about me. I've been chilling. Can't do this no more. I'm in my feeling. Can't put your business all out in the open. Can't fix a heart that's already been broken. You changed my ways, I'm already hopeless. I take my time, I figure it out, girl. You know you are. I'll be up in the way. 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 Running on my face. Gucci guilty on my face. I'll be up in the way. 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 I'll be up in the way.
Thank you very much. Because they had nothing else to do. So it was like, imagine that your late husband